I'd like to call to order the October 10th Strategic Planning Committee meeting. I've asked Councilman Cagnolati to lead us in the invocation.
Please rise. Heavenly Father, we ask your special blessings on the Strategic Planning Committee as we do the business of the people of Ascension Parish. We ask that you bless Parish President Quintmo, all council members, and all who serve the parish in employment. Bless Ascension Parish as you have in the past, and we are so thankful for all the blessings you impose on us. We ask these in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If anyone would like to speak on item C, you can come up to the front and get a card, a red card or a green card, fill it out. We will be shortening this meeting to expedite for a council meeting we had to call. If we'd have anyone who would like to make
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we defer items 5A, B, and D until such time that we can take them up again here.
Second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
No objections. That passes.
Item C.
So moving on to item C. I've got some photos starting off, and I want to kind of show you the problem that we're having and that my constituents are having with this red dirt on Highway 22 and Highway 44. The issue, if you can see in these pictures, you can see the red cloud. Is it on these monitors also? Is it on there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it's been there forever. It's been there for my lifetime, but we've never had this issue. We've never had this problem before because it's followed the code and it's followed, conform to the safety standards it should, which is it should be wet, it should be watered with a sprinkler, and it absolutely should not be over the top of the levee. The levee, at some points, you can see the red dirt 20 to 30 foot over the top, not watered down. So you have this dry dust out there. Any type of windstorm is going to just blow it everywhere, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. It's an issue that DEQ knows about. It's an issue that we have found they are non-compliant in several different areas. And us, as a parish, we're very limited to what we can do here. But we can do a lot still. What our goal tonight is just to have a resolution. We'll hear from y'all, get some opinions from my fellow council members, and possibly see if the council can draft a letter to DEQ, to the governor's office, to any federal agency that could help us to enforce this. I know the company is going through bankruptcy, but that does not matter. I mean, the property is still owned by someone somewhere, and they're still responsible for it. I know some of the excuses I've heard from DEQ is a lack of finding sprinkler heads, but I mean, come on, get a hose pipe. You don't need a sprinkler head. You don't need a specific one until then. That's just ridiculous. Can we hear from some of these people, see what y'all have to say, and then we can address any of your questions or any of the things you have to say.
Certainly, this one said he wants to speak. The other two didn't indicate, so
Okay.
you can ask them.
We have Mr. Derrick.
Good evening. Thank you for calling this meeting. I'm a resident of Pelican Crossing subdivision. I've been a resident of Ascension Parish since 2011. This red dust from the mud lake of the old oil mat facility, as you've seen on the pictures, it gets pretty bad with the windstorms. I've already had to pressure wash my house 3 times this year because it gets sucked into your eaves on your house. It gets stuck to the stucco, to the brick. Whenever it rains, you get the pink water that runs down the side of your house and it stains it. And quite frankly, it's a mess. They have water hoses that are there, but it's tantamount to just propping a hose up on a stick like you would do a fishing rod. It is of none effect. The product does need to be wet, and they're not taking any responsibility in taking care of that. But it is causing a lot of disruption in the neighborhood. It's staining a lot of houses. It's on side the roads when you pass down. If you drive down 22 on the shoulders, you can see the trail of the bauxite down the road. It gets on your vehicles. If it gets in your vehicle, it stains it. You can't get the stains out. So it's definitely a nuisance to the parish. Thank you.
I do appreciate you. We have 3 others that have not checked that they would like to speak, but I'll go ahead and call your name. If you'd like to speak, you can come up. We have Joseph, Mr. Joseph Carrabba.
Thanks very much. I'm the CEO of Elementus Minerals. We are looking, we're doing a due diligence right now on extracting the minerals out of the red mud, both in Gramercy at the whatever facility people call it now, Atauco, Noranda. From there, we've got a mineral reserve resource from a third-party engineering firm. There's about 30 million tons of material there. It is full of minerals that are vital to the U.S. for critical minerals within the United States. The reason it's red is because it's 55% iron that goes with it, and iron oxide. We believe we can take this and turn this into a useful product into pig iron, which goes into the electric arc furnaces. Currently in the United States, the electric arc furnaces are rapidly replacing the old blast furnaces from the north, and it's a much lower carbon footprint that comes in. There's about 13 million tons of new capacity of EAFs, electric arc furnaces, coming in. Their feed is about 80% scrap and about 20% of a product from DRI to HBI to pig iron that comes in, and you need that to get the quality of the material up, the steel that you're going to make. Our component would be also a low carbon footprint, so it would provide more emphasis for green steel. Currently, the U.S. is the largest importer of pig iron in the world, of 8 million tons a year. 6 of that million tons was coming from the Ukraine and from Russia. So those supplies are now cut off from there. We have a proprietary process that has been developed, believe it or not, beginning many years ago in Russia with a Russian aluminum called Rusal. And we've taken that technology, we've adapted it to a German metallurgical university to run the work there, to take a rare earth out of it called scandium that's used to lightweight aerospace and space vehicles that come with it. And then we've taken that now, we've got a pilot plant and a chemical lab over in Lakeland, Florida. Originally it was scheduled for here, and that hurricane came through, and we had to take an abrupt turn. We plan on moving the pilot plant and our research R&D facility late this year, early first quarter. We've got an option on the land at Burnside right now. We're going through the due diligence right now of that, so you'll see folks out on that pond testing it to seeing the mineral content of it and how many tons are. We think our rough estimate is there's about 15 million tons of material there. It does not have the rare earths because the product did not come from Jamaica.
Can we,
I'm sorry, Ryan.
no, you're good. You're
Okay.
good. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, but it has a great iron content in it, and it has low contaminants in it for the steel, and it has low phos.
I guess All of that sounds great. All of it sounds good. I remember reading something about your plant that you have in Gramercy to mine some of these. Also, have you looked at, or has anybody ever used it with copolymer concrete?
I'm sorry?
With concrete, you can do some of the
Looking at it in
copolymer-
cement, yeah, for the aluminum content for cement, for sure.
Yeah,
There's a nice market there. There's a
because I
nice
know there's
market.
a concrete that they're bringing over here. I believe I thought it was some type of polymer concrete or something that they
I
can
don't
use
know
it to mix with.
the version of the concrete, but we've had numerous conversations with cement companies up and down the Mississippi.
Yes.
As coal-fired power plants go down, the waste that came out of those plants was what was providing the heavy metals and the aluminum that went into the cement industry. So as those go down, they need a new supplement, and the alumina could from these
So
mines.
if this option goes through with y'all buying this property, what type of timeline do you think it would take to get rid of this stuff?
We're looking at the first quarter of '25.
Okay.
We've hired Hatch Engineering. We're through, there's 3 series of engineering estimates you go through. We just went through the first FL1. The economics of it look very good. We're working on offtake agreements as well with the major steel companies, that sit within.
What type of purchase agreement are you going to try to work out on the land? What type of timeline to own it?
We don't want to own it. We want an option on the mineral that comes with it. So that's what we're working on from there. We have no reason to.
I guess what I'm getting at is you seem like you're going to be very involved with the project and with the property, and whatever you could do to help us expedite the process to deal with whom owns it until the project starts, so we could get, water on it and get everything else. That would be.
Absolutely. We've already talked to an engineering company that's good in dust abatement.
Okay.
What I see out there is an absolute tragedy from the industry that I'm in, and I think it gives the whole industry a black eye, sir. We would put the dust abatement in first. We will not be perfect, but we think we can do a lot better than that, I guess, sprinkler system, whatever you'd call it, that's out there now.
Well, I mean, that's great news for the future. Hopefully we can get something done until then. Is there any way you could leave your information with the secretary?
Absolutely. I'll leave my card with it, and I'm happy to brief yourselves, the community, at any time. I'm sure they'll have a lot of questions, and I'm sure they've had a lot of people come through here, but we're very sincere in the work we're doing, and we're very excited about the project to supply critical minerals into the U.S., out of the U.S., so be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next we've got Mr. Jim Robertson.
I've been a resident in Pelican Crossing for 8 years now, but I've lived here my whole life. I remember this plant when it was Ormet. I knew some of the people that worked out there. I think this issue has gotten worse since 2011 or 2003 to get to the point that it is now. And I think that's the key point is there's not an active agent on site maintaining this. I'd be tickled for somebody to actually be out there working this facility and maintaining it that we could hold to account. I don't think DEQ's sprinkler system is getting it done. I don't think that's a permanent fix. I don't think that's a long-term solution. The pile has gotten well above the levees, as you've mentioned. Sprinklers aren't going to stop that from blowing when you get a strong enough wind. We're going to continually have it. We've mentioned that it's been in the roads on Highway 22. I've heard of it being as far as Sorrento Primary. I've heard that it's been seen from the Sunshine Bridge, and people have actually commented about it being in Donaldsonville. This dust is out of control. We've got to do something. And it wasn't this way until the last couple of years. So either an active agent on site doing true maintenance to do something with this pile and reduce it, or it needs to be capped, one or the other.
Thank you. Mr. Dempsey Pendarvis?
I guess I'm more likely to know more about Pelican Crossing than anybody in this room. I appreciate y'all finally taking this to light, and let's try to get something done about it. You know, Mr. Robert, if you remember when you first got elected some 22 months ago, one of the first phone calls you got was more or less from me that, hey, we got a problem back there. Now, it's not just the people of Pelican Crossing getting dusted. They're getting it the worst because it's more concentrated right there. Last week, a week before last, Donaldsonville was getting dusted. Moran subdivision gets dusted a lot. I remember on a Sunday I had a conversation with Sheriff Wiley when he was sheriff. They were coming from church and they were getting off the interstate, and it looked like a smoke cloud coming off the ramp of the interstate. It all depended which way the wind's blowing. But the problem we got here, it would be wonderful if these people could extract this stuff out of here, but that's not going to fix the problem. The problem was it was people's livelihood discounted on profit and overhead. Those sales were designed, and they were strict under DEQ regulations, to be certain amount of capacity, certain amount of freeboard, a levee above the product, where it could stay underwater, and then have enough freeboard for if we had a 7-inch rain, it didn't overflow. Because what this man's not telling you, it's got iron in it. It's bauxite. I worked at Burnside Terminal for 5 years when I got out of high school. I'm very familiar with it. But it's full of caustic. Not only is it stained, it eats metal up. I got a white Charlie bull, and he was red. You know, if you walk in the grass out there when the wind blows right there, your shoes get red. I had a building that was less than 15 years old, and the tin was rotting down on it. It's very, very corrosive, very caustic. And this was the last people that owned Ormet. It used to never be piled above the levee, but it didn't have the right freeboard. To my knowledge, it only overflowed one time. And I think they got sanctioned because they didn't call DEQ and report it. They've had a couple levee failures. Maybe not the top of the levee, but wall failures. But it would only dust when you, maybe in July, August, when you was going to have a bad rain, like your mama had to go take the clothes in off the line right quick because you knew it was coming. Well, because the residue on top of in the mud lake would crack up, just like you see old pond dry up and it all cracks up. And it would only blow for a few minutes till that blew away, and then it was over. But now these last
Good.
These last operators of Ormet had hauled stuff back there with trucks. You know, you said it was 30 foot high. I don't know if it's quite that high, but it might be 10, 12 foot high. And it used to have a bunch of alumini out there, the finished product that Ormet made. You don't see it no more. It done blew away. But the bauxite blows and it blows and it blows, and it's corrosive. And bottom line is a new cell needs to be built. I know they tried to haul some bagasse from the sugar mill and cap it, but the problem arrives, you can't get on top of it. You go out there, they put marsh bug out there, they tried to sprinkle it. DEQ's been telling me for 20 years, they got to do something, they got to do something, they got to do something. All they do is been talking about it. I had a DEQ guy back there on a Sunday, and he said, they can blame you all they want for you being a disgruntled neighbor. My car got full of it when he was riding back behind the deal. The wind caught him in a gust, and it just choked him out. It needs another cell built, cut to whatever they got to do to get it down. They tried to sprinkle it, but they can't use fresh water to sprinkle it because then it will overfill the pond. They tried to recycle the water. They dug some moats around it, but the product with the water in the deal, it stops the sprinkler heads up. So it's a catch-22. It just has too much stuff in the levee. Thank you.
I appreciate you. That's all the speakers that we have signed up. If anyone else would like to, just let me know. After hearing some talk and after talking to some people myself, as the council, as I mentioned before, we can only do so much as the parish, as a governing authority, but we can ask for help from these different agencies. We can also, not as Ascension Parish, but outside of that, file as a community a class action lawsuit, especially with the types of things he's saying. If it's caustic, if it's got eaten metal, acidic, There's a lot of liability there. And
Mr. Rivers, one thing I forgot to tell you.
Sir, can you approach the lectern, please? Thanks.
I know this through research, that the people that own that, you know, there's such things as assets and liabilities. The assets is the farmland around it. It's good property. They're transferring that property into different entities and different names. Somebody told me it was Sweden-owned corporations. So if you don't have no assets, you throw your hands in the air and you say bankrupt, state of Louisiana, you own it now, you fix it.
that's right. He can get that property before 2024 or 2022. So those are just a few of the ideas. Do we have any comments from my fellow council members?
No, I thank you, Joe. I certainly would like to make a motion that we ask our legal representative to prepare a resolution to forward to the council.
Any opposition, or with no opposition, that passes?
Now, you'll notice I left that very open-ended, what it says. Okay.
I do appreciate everyone coming tonight. We'll take this up hopefully at the next council meeting or one of the following council meetings in the future. Motion to adjourn anywhere?
So moved.